Beautiful Birmingham, Alabama plays host to the final stop of the MotoAmerica season for 2022. It's the MotoAmerica Superbikes at Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park. REV'IT Twins Cup coming up for their final race of the season. They've been practicing, they've been qualifying, they've been running lap after lap in preparation for this one and final race for their weekend here at Barber. The fans are out and the racers are ready to hit the track for their one and only time here in REV'IT Twins Cup. He's Roger Hayden, the champ. I'm Robbie Floyd. We'll talk to Greg Kramer here in just a moment. Raj, this championship battle comes down to three riders, but we have many riders trying to win their first race of the year. One of those being Caleb DeCarroll. He could be one of those ones that kind of upsets the apple cart just as well. Yeah,
we've seen him years before be so fast here, and he's kind of carried that over to this weekend and been really quick. It's going to be interesting to see what the three championship guys do. What's their strategy going to be? I know it's Jody Berry and Anthony Mazziato. They have to win. And so for them, they'll be laying it on the line. But just like we talked about the other day during this qualifying session, there's 10 guys that could win any given weekend in this Twins Cup class, and that's what makes it so exciting.
As we're looking at Anthony Mazziato there, we also saw Caleb DeCarroll on the Veloci Aprilia. Both those riders on Aprilias, but also Jody Berry, who started off the season hot on the Veloci number 11, still has a chance at this title. He needs to find that form we saw earlier in the year. Yeah,
beginning of the year, really the first 6 races looked like he was going to, run away with it. Then mid-season, kind of things didn't go his way. Now he still has a chance, though. So today he needs to win again and be the Jody Berry that showed up the first 4 or 5 races.
As they've said in Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's a chance, and here are those points, 15 and 17 for Mazziato and Berry in the rear side of Blake Davis. Behind him in points is one thing. There's only 25 to be had in this race. Blake needs to keep it on 2 wheels. He needs a strong finish, and he knows the guys are going to be out there. They're going to be giving it their all, but we've seen them have struggles at times before.
Yeah, we've seen him have struggles, and what a bunch of pressure on a young kid. Can you imagine that pressure he has on him right now? Just see how he handles it.
Well, the man who sits second in points, Anthony Mazziato. Greg Kramer's caught up with him.
Yeah, I absolutely have. And Anthony, obviously, mathematically in with a shot at this championship, 17 points back. And Maz, obviously, you've had speed all year. That hasn't really been a question. But you hit a stretch there where you had some real issues, with handling and some of the mechanicals on the bike. What has that done to your psyche, and how do you just sort of put that behind you and go, you got to win today? I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, all these things, they're just out of my control. I just come here and I ride the bike. Try to ride it as fast and as best as I possibly can every time I get on it, and these things happen. We can't go out all throughout the season having a perfect season. I could try my best not to crash and not to DNF, but these mechanical things, they happen, so they definitely set us back a little bit. But yeah, I'm ready to give it hell today. We didn't get too many laps at the beginning of this weekend, so my session's pretty much started on Saturday, so I'm a little bit down on the laps, but I think we finally got something figured out, and we'll maybe have something to give it to them today at the front.
All right, well, we love watching you hustle it, so have a good run.
Thank you very much.
All right, now, of course, the guy who sits second in the points, 15 behind your point leader, is the number 11 of Jody Berry. And Jody got out of the start gate this season really, really stout, strung together a number of wins. Then he hit sort of a lull just a little bit. But at New Jersey, it looked like you were back on form. You were confident in the bike again. Your speed was there. You think you can get after this today? Because, your equation's pretty simple. You got to win. Rest of it's up to the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's our goal, is to do the best we can. We figured some things out with the bike, so we're pretty confident today. So yeah, just run our own race and just give it our 110%. So.
All right. Well, your 110% is fun to watch, so we're looking forward to it. Have a good run.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right. That is your second in the points. Now let's see if we can sneak in real quick and grab a word with our point leader. We got to do it fast here, guys. Let me just jump in real quick. Blake, obviously getting kitted up here. Gloves are going on. You've got a great opportunity here. 15 points clear of Jody. You know exactly where you need to finish in this one. Is that the plan? Are you going to go for the win? What's going on?
Yeah, I think it's going to be safe to be near the front the whole time. I don't want to get caught up in some of those battles a little bit farther back. So I'm going to go for it, just play it a little safe, don't push over my limit, and have a good time.
So you'll be content if you just add another podium to the count. You're not worried about that win?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
All right, he is ready to go. The siren just went off. It's time to clear the grid. Guys, this one should be spectacular. These races are phenomenal.
The number 1 plate is up for grabs. It will not be Caleb DeCarroll, but he's looking for his first win. It would be his only win of the season. If I had $100 saying that Caleb DeCarroll would not have a win, I would never have bet against him not to get a win. There's no way.
Yeah, and I think today it looks like he's super focused, and I think he's going to be tough to beat. He doesn't want to go winless this season, and he's not in a championship battle and wants to go out with a good result.
Yeah, and I think this is his best shot. We've seen him years before, given Rocco Landers. When Landers was winning championships, we saw Caleb DeCarroll giving him fits, but also the speeds are returning. Caleb running the fastest lap ever we've seen here in Twins Cup, and by a considerable margin as well.
Yeah, broke the track record by quite a bit. Previously, it was a 30.4. They're doing 29 flats, a second and a half quicker than the previous track record.
I do remember, though, it wasn't too long ago. Caleb was setting track records, and he overcooked one of those tires, and it threw him down really hard here at Barber. It's been a while. The track's a little different than when they were out there in qualifying and practices. How do you think that's going to play a factor for this race? Will they use up that tire?
Well, I think the track is going to be a little bit cooler. So the sun has not been out or today where it has all weekend. So the track's been pretty warm. So whatever setup some of these guys have, and they've had previous all weekend, Friday and Saturday, with it being real sunny and warm, track temperatures a little bit lower could change the way the tires feel for them.
You saw the other rider that has been winning quite a bit here lately, Corey Ventura on his Yamaha R7. We haven't mentioned Hayden Schultz, another rider. I'm looking to see if Rocco's down there with his linebacker umbrella boy uniform on there, because he's both Hayden's, and because I give him, we've talked about their size, but there's Hayden's teammate James Rispoli on the 43. Hayden Schultz trying to do what his sister, I think she broke a school record. She won a diving competition, 3 meter.
3 meters?
Yeah, that's 3 meters. That's springboard, right?
I don't know. I think I could swim 3 meters.
It's not swimming, it's diving.
You said swimming.
Yeah, did I? Swim and diving team, I guess it'd be the same. Oh, that's funny. I know, funny. That was a good call, Roger. I didn't hear that.
A couple other guys to watch, Benjamin Glotty and Teague Hobbs on the podium last race, and this weekend been really strong. 2
teammates on the Robo Engineering team. You see that 79 of Hobbs in the left side of your screen.
Look at Hayden, how he kind of lines up diagonal. You see that? You'll see it when he comes around number 49, not completely straight, trying to get to that outside right away.
Something you do, right? You do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this will be their siding lap, and they'll get ready to hit the track. They've already went around once, so get this opportunity. They'll pull up, and it'll be go time for the REV'IT twins.
REV'IT Twins Cup is brought to you by REV'IT Apparel. Design, innovation, and performance. REV'IT.
REV'IT Twins Cup hitting the track. Green means go here in just a moment. This is their siding lap. Pole sitter Caleb DeCarroll. I'm Robbie Floyd with Josh Hayes joining us in the booth, and Roger Hayden. On poles, Caleb DeCarroll trying to get that first win of the season. He's out of the championship picture. That's the other 2 riders we'll be talking about, Blake Davis as well as Anthony Mazziato and Jody Berry. Find your favorite rider in the field. Josh, we have talked about some of these riders, having strong parts of their season, but it's been Blake Davis, one of the youngest competitors, having the most consistent season this year.
Yeah, he was pretty awesome at Daytona, and, getting that win early, and then he went through a little bit of a tough spell there. But here, since Laguna Seca, he's really been, I think he's been first or second almost every race since. So he's really finding his stride. Him and Corey Ventura both about the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Corey Ventura is going to start on that front row. You work with Corey riding out of your paddock. What was the word? What was the word with him? What were the last thing you said to Corey before he went to the line?
Man, I just said, hey, have a good race, and don't worry, you got to deal with me for the rest of the off season. So this is going to be the easiest couple of laps and minutes you're going to get for a while. So. He's really looking forward to this. He's been fast from the first session.
Strategy-wise, we'll talk about that here in just a second. The red flag clears, green means go. We're going to wait for these lights to go out, and Twins Cup hit the track. Their one and only race at Barber. Good run by those first couple of rows. A big jump back behind. Don't know who that was, but it was a massive wheelie. All right, Corey's going to the inside. He's trying to take the lead early. Look at the riders. I mean, there are 4 wide going into turn 2. So now we can talk strategies. You see Caleb DeCarroll trying to set up on the inside as they go down to 5. He wants to get out in front. He wants to check out. The weather here, 77 degrees, is pretty humid, different than it has been the past couple days. Strategy-wise, did you say anything to Corey? Because nobody can hear us now, except for the riders can't.
No, I mean, with Corey, talking to him, we've seen his pace this weekend. We knew Caleb especially feels really confident in the front of his motorcycle and would be attacking. I said, expect those attacks on corner entry a little bit. Corey's been doing a good job kind of adapting his riding style and starting to figure out how to get the most out of this thing. He wants to try to lead from the front. For Blake had a really strong warm-up. He's been pretty steady all weekend, and he knows that with the group of guys around him, if he's just in the race and focused and sharp, doesn't make silly moves or desperate maneuvers, he's going to be in pretty good shape for this championship.
Yeah, if he could just stay with this top 5, they're kind of separating himself, and that's just going to be in a pretty good spot, not get caught up in somebody else's mistake.
But I talk to him, I'm like, hey, listen, you got to stay sharp, you got to stay focused. So if somebody gives you an opportunity to make a pass, I think for sure you need to be focused on moving forward as much as you possibly can, because it keeps your focus on, just like practice, on what you're doing, and you don't make those silly mistakes of just giving it a little bit of time and then all of a sudden you've rushed the corner way too much.
And then you're further up the pack as well, so you don't have to worry about somebody dive bombing you from 3 or 4 spots back.
Yeah, this is a bit of a class of axe murderers, you know what I mean? So you want to keep yourself as close to the front as you can. It's the safest place to be on the racetrack.
Corey Ventura doing what he needs to do right now, sitting in the tracks of Caleb DeCarroll. Now it's his turn to go underneath and kind of test the waters. Caleb felt pretty comfortable being on that outside, but he gave up too much room on the inside. Bit. Yeah, he looked comfortable, but he was way too wide. Yep, I don't see it happening. It looks like Corey set up pretty well, but that one's going to squeeze it out, and he's in position.
No, you can tell Caleb definitely his strategy is he's riding hard. He's got his head down, and he's trying to see if he can't check out these first couple laps, and he showed the pace and practice to be able to do it.
We've got a little bit of that unknown, though, too, with these guys being their only race. A couple of riders down on the track. We'll see if it's just going to be a local yellow or if they're going to have to make another adjustment on that. Still early in this race with Corey Ventura, Caleb DeCarroll, Big Galati, Teague Hobbs, Blake Davis, your top 5. As it stands right now, you would have Blake Davis winning the championship, but a red flag has come out, and we kind of thought that when we saw the one rider down. And you always do that in the interest of safety. It's just one of those portions of the course. You can't afford people going by at speed and those riders being where they're at.
Yeah, and it's down in turn 5 as well, so probably somebody tried to make a pass on the inside and just lost the front end, so they had to red flag it.
You get in there in a big group and you can end up with a lot of people kind of doing things a lot of ways. It's kind of hard to make some adjustments sometimes. If you're way up the inside and you make a small mistake, there's a lot of people could potentially be on the outside of you there.
So in this scenario, Caleb gets an extra lap, right?
It looks like he wasn't quite sure, so he rolled on through the front straightaway where the rest of the guys kind of ducked into pit lane there.
Talking about having his head down, trying to get away, he really had his head down. He didn't see the red flag.
And
sometimes you don't trust that first one.
No,
I'm going to wait till I see a
wouldn't.
second one. So I know I've done that before. I kind of saw the first one and I go, yeah, I feel pretty good about it. And you're looking for the next corner worker station. You say, okay, there's confirmation.
Making sure it wasn't a red shirt.
There's a few times, at Pittsburgh, there was a fire truck going down into turn 3 on the left side, and I kept kind of catching my eye,
Yeah, but in that case, Caleb was also the first one. We don't know where he was on the track in comparison to many of the others. And in his interest, it's probably better to blow that turn as long as he slows down.
You're not quite sure about everybody behind you, right?
Yeah, that's
some old Technique leathers. I wore those for a lot of years there. Farrell Performance, the Kawasaki.
Yep.
And that explains also the
We talked about this. There was not many
si
Kawasaki's in the field.
Yeah, that should be Edward Kay, and I believe he's the one that went massive wheelie too. Kay's Custom Cycles. He's walking like Josh Hayes wishes he could.
Got a little hobble to him.
So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to crown a champion. Blake Davis, he did what he needed to do, get out there in the top 5, keep it on 2 wheels, stay safe.
He's in a good spot. I didn't feel like he got a particularly good start. So I would imagine, my guess would be this would be original grid positions whenever they restart this. So he gets kind of another shot at it.
But Mazziato or Barry, neither one even in the picture in that shot too. So that was a perfect scenario. And it looked like he had a little gap on a couple of the riders that were back behind him. Which other bike is that went down?
Corey Hart.
Okay. Joey O Racing. All right.
It'll be a little interesting to see. Most of the guys I would expect are running the super soft or extra soft. I can't remember which rear it is. The softer option of the rears, and a lot of times this heat cycle can have a small effect on it, and the guys that can kind of deal with that the best will really bounce back quick in those first couple of laps.
Well, you see 1-8-3-3 CJ knows. CJ knows that Caleb's going to have to do another restart. Caleb's okay with that, isn't he, Greg?
Oh, I think he is. Obviously, Caleb, how was only a couple of laps there, but it looked like you were pretty comfortable in the lead, obviously. And secondly, you're 4th. I mean, you know where you're sitting in the points. That kind of liberating for you here?
I'm just taking it race by race, man, and having fun. I mean, I know we got a really good pace out here this weekend. The Veloce crew did an awesome job getting me set up for this weekend, and I felt great ever since the bike rolled off the truck, so it's a really good feeling, and I feel comfortable in the lead, and I want to lead, and hopefully we can win this thing. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Obviously, coming in here with the #1 plate and then not being able to defend it, I know that's a little frustrating, but important to have a great run in the last race, carry that momentum forward.
Yeah, I feel like I've made the best of every opportunity I could this season, and we've had a hell of a year, so I want to end it with a bang. So let's go.
All right, he's excited. He has unquestioned speed, and he likes leading. It should be fun.
Caleb DeCarroll on that Veloce Aprilia. 3 podiums this year, but has yet to get a win. He's won that podium to be a win. Let's find out what Corey Ventura can do. 3 podiums, 3 wins, all the love. Who's that love to?
That must be. He must know I'm in the booth.
Hey, I'm thinking so. He was trying to give it, that love to Melissa. Yeah, this is
our whole family. Corey lives with us, right? So this is the whole family here, and so including his girlfriend.
He's your oldest?
Kind of now. Him, Huckleberry, Hawk. Yeah.
And MP stands for Melissa Paris, and that's the one right there. Okay, so we see some tape off the radiator trying to get some heat built up in that, I'm assuming. Maybe it was a little cooler than they were wanting it.
Well, they took the tape other way around.
Yeah, the heat. Yeah, I was. It's been a long day, Roger. They were wanting to get a little cooler.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from Corey this weekend. This has probably been the most sharp I feel like he's been. He got a little off when he was doing the double duty, just kind of like, he was doing a lot of work, showing off his white Jolly Roger there. And but he was also started winning just from the extra track time and being out there doing double duty the way we always had, gaining that extra experience. And I know he really wants to put this to bed and end the season on a high.
Ben Glady also looking for his first win of the season, although he does have 2 podiums on the year.
Yeah, he does, and I'll tell you, you like this place, obviously. You look at what you did last year. You had 2 podium finishes here last year. You're running really quickly again. What do you need to do to get to the front in this one?
Just same thing, get that same good start I had, and then just stay with those front guys to the end.
All right, looks like you've got the speed for it.
Thank you. Yeah, I do.
All right, go get him.
Yeah, Glady's last race was a 2nd place behind Blake Davis, so he's trying to bump it up. He's got a 3rd, a 2nd. He's due for his first win. Still new into this class relatively, and I kind of had to go through some highs and lows throughout the season, but he, as well as his teammate Teague Hobbs, have looked fast this week and fast in the last round as well. So they're going to get to re-rack, restack. We've been told 9 laps to go, so they cut the laps just a little bit. We still have a lot of racing to go today. This is our 2nd race of the afternoon. Juniors, Super Sport, Medallia Superbikes, and Royal Enfields still to follow. Let's take a look at how the race went down early on before this red flag come out. But again, they're going to take their original grid position because they have not completed enough laps. Let's take a look. Need a good start, right? Well, those front couple rows did.
Corey with a great start from second on the grid. Caleb attacking quick. I think Caleb's just going to continue to attack and attack and attack. He wants to be the guy trying to lead this thing. And the fun thing is Corey wants the same thing. So this could be a good battle between these two.
Yeah, it looks like Corey has the same plan. He wants to be the guy at the front.
The 22 still sitting back there in fifth. That was a mistake by DeCarroll. He tried making the most of it and keep all that speed going. He just went a longer distance, but he had position here, so he made up for it. And then we had riders going down that brought out the red flag in turn 5. And then we will restack for a 9-lap adventure here in Twins Cup, where the championship's still up for grabs. Blake Davis leading that championship by 15 points over Anthony Mazziato. Jody Berry in third, 17 points behind. Now this start's going to be a little different than their original start. How so?
Well, it's a quick start procedure, so instead of having the tire warmers come on and all the grid stuff and the interviews, you just come around. You have one person from your crew in your grid spot, so you come around, you stop right there, and when everything's set, the crews walk off. They get another warm-up lap, and then after that, it's the start of the race.
You know, basically, you still do your sighting lap, just like you would any other time. A lot of times, you know, coming up club racing, we never did sighting laps. You just went and did a warm-up lap, gridded up, and raced. They still do a sighting lap here, but then there's a very short interval here. We'll start our warm-up lap all as a group and then start the race.
One thing we have not talked about is the numbers of riders. There were a ton of people qualifying for, 36 spots. We had almost 50 riders trying to make this field. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to have so many people coming out wanting to take part in a national event. And as sad as it is that we can't let everybody participate, at the same time, I think that it's healthy to have more than 36 people that can make the cut and qualify and show up, try to get there. And if you get sent home, you go, okay, I know what work I got to do. I need to be able to show up and be able to do this to get into pro racing.
Qualifying is the perfect word. They need to be qualified to make it to this field, and that was the case. These are the best 36 riders. We're going to do it again. 9 laps. Caleb DeCarroll on pole next to Corey Ventura and Ben Glotty near side in your picture. We'll listen to the revs go up. The lights will go out. Or will they turn the lights off?
There's just going to be a flag for the warm-up lap.
Hey, they don't look like they're warming up. That's what got me going.
Some of us take it seriously.
You just explained it to me, but hey, so you said that yesterday that you prepare yourself like it was a race. You wanted to do that. Roger even mentioned that, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Corey, and he was in start mode right then.
He is, because he's going to do, something I've impressed on him a lot is that I'm going to do like a 3/4 start. And I'm going to be able to count my shifts, find a brake marker for turn 1. I've never started from that position and run into turn 1. I've been coming from the last turn, so it is quite a bit different and might give me an advantage or an opportunity to see it that different way. I also like to do a fast warm-up lap, get everything up to temperature, and it not like the first lap of the race. I wanted to feel like the second or third lap of practice.
Roger, I heard something when you did an interview with one of the Talent Cup kids. Did you hear something weird? He said he visualized the first turn of what was going to happen if he didn't get a good start. I've never heard that, because everybody I've ever heard talk about that's a good starter, they always visualize what it's like getting that start. I never hear the other side, the negative side of it.
Well, I think sometimes before a race, whenever you're thinking about what you want to accomplish, you got to think about, if I get a bad start, where do I want to attack this first lap? Where do I want to start making up some spots?
How do I reset?
Yeah.
Start over again. So, you got to have kind of you have the ideal plan, and then you want to have the backup plan, which could be just playing leapfrog, right? Look at the kid rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
Back there on the hillside.
Looks like the Little League World Series, and they're having that hill with the. Don't make it look muddy like that, though. This grass is too pretty. Yeah, my mind was wanting to get this race going. They've been
well, they
waiting.
did look like race mode.
I'm not kidding. I looked at it and said, okay, something must have changed, because those front two look like they were starting.
They were ready to go. Also, I like to go kind of quick on the warm-up lap, too, to check the, with the cloud cover being different than qualifying and practice, check the grip level of the track.
Jody Berry trying to get that win. Already with 4. There's the red flag that's in the front of the grid. They're letting all the riders in front know that everything is not good throughout the field. You saw a rider having to weave his way through. And on the backside, as soon as they get that okay from them, they'll have that chase vehicle, and there's medical staff in there in case somebody goes down in that first lap. So green, the red clears. All right, now let's look at the lights. Let's do this. 9-lap race. MotoAmerica Superbikes at Alabama, REV'IT Twins Cup. Corey with a good jump in second. Couple guys mid-pack, not getting that start.
Looked like Caleb got off the line a little bit better this time. Yep, leads it into turn 1.
Kind of like the same as the first start. See Dominic Doyle and Hayden Schwartz's start too. They got a little better start. You can see them trying to hang on to that top 5.
And that's what Hayden, you know what he wants to do. He can't let those guys get away from him. Looking for that win here.
Dominic's been another one.
Look at this race for the lead.
Laps.
Corey Ventura comes into the back. You can see he just could not shut it down. You could see it coming a mile away. He was trying to make that pass, and you come in too hot. You have nowhere to go.
I don't know how Caleb stayed on track. It looked like he was going through the
he
travel.
took a shot pretty good. So.
And sometimes that could kind of, bend things or not get things working so smoothly. And
Blake doing good work to move himself up into second, get clear of those guys, and give himself his best chance here. Focus on chasing down Caleb DeCarroll and keep his focus sharp so that he can put this to bed.
It looks like Corey Ventura is up walking. There's the N2 Racing team. Yeah, so Corey, good to see him walking off there because there was no good off at that point. So when you get that front end and the back end of the rider next to you, and I know you as the dad in this mode, you're shaking your head before it even gets to the contact.
I wasn't too focused on Corey at that time. But looks like he had felt like he got a good run in there. I know Caleb's been pretty strong there. It looks like when Caleb started to turn in, he was trying to turn in that little bit and just couldn't quite get there.
I think Caleb turned in earlier than he thought.
Yeah, and Caleb did a good job of catching himself, taking that hit a little bit and managing to keep it on 2 wheels there.
And Corey did a good job too, knowing he wasn't going to make it and try to, not take Caleb down with him.
That is tough for all involved. And yeah, as long as everything's right, you saw it getting back into the exhaust even of that. I mean, there's a lot that could go wrong for this bike mechanically with a heavy contact. But Caleb DeCarroll, Blake Davis, Teague Hobbs, 1, 2, 3. Benglotti back in 4th. Again, Blake Davis doesn't need to win this race. He'll win the championship if he finishes second. He's got a 15-point advantage over second place. Anthony Mazziato, who's back in 8th. On that first lap. We don't even see Maz in the picture. It looks like Jody Berry is starting to work his way up right around 7th position.
Both of those boys are just off. Actually, I think that's Jody Berry right on the back of the group there with a gap to Maz.
He's trying to put a move on either Hayden Schultz or Dominic Doyle that time around. He can't wait too long. This is not going to be a patience race for him.
Yeah, and again, for Blake, he's got a little bit of comfort knowing that if he's just near him, he's pretty safe for the championship. He doesn't have to beat him. He's just got to be in the same ballpark, really.
He sees Caleb going to take the most points.
Yeah, 25's what you get for first, 20 you get for second. So he's okay with Caleb winning this race. But I'm telling you, the 79 wants some of Blake Davis here and the 72 of Benglotti. So Teague Hobbs and the 79 Robum Engineering bikes, they're about to have a Yamaha sandwich, those two Aprilias. And you see, getting on that inside again, having to make some adjustments for the Robum Engineering riders.
DeCarroll last lap, 29.4. That is a second quicker than the previous race lap record.
That's hauling. And in qualifying, we saw the overall record being beat by, 1.4 seconds. So these guys are getting faster and faster. They're starting to figure these Twins Cup bikes out. Different talent of riders, talented set of riders. We know the previous years, pretty strong. Rocco Landers taking the championships. Caleb DeCarroll, last year's national champion, going to have to pass that #1 plate to somebody. Is it the 22 of Blake Davis?
Caleb's getting himself into a good spot to just kind of ride around by himself, and Blake didn't quite have the pace that Caleb had, but he's putting in a good pace, and he's apparently strong in the right places because Ben's got some speed, keeps looking around him, but he's not really able to make something happen that he feels is comfortable with.
And the points as they stand right now, and you do see Jody Berry sneaking in the picture. It's the second white bike. The leading bike is Caleb DeCarroll, but again, Jody Berry had 17 points he needed to make up. So he needs to get in front of Davis, or Davis needs to get raced with these guys and have something happen for him to win this championship. Caleb's checking out.
He's riding a clean race right now out front, being able to do what he's been doing in practice every session. Still putting up some red sectors there and getting a little bit better. These two boys behind Blake are looking pretty racy. I think Teague and Ben are both really wanting to get by. It'll be interesting to see if they can, if they have the pace of that next group. Jody Berry working his way through Dominic Doyle and also through Hayden Schultz.
Also, those two riders behind Blake know he's going for the championship, and they don't want to do something crazy and take him down.
That white bike keeps picking him off. He's got a couple the past 2 laps. Jody Berry on that 11. Veloci Racing Aprilia still has a shot at this title. He keeps plucking them off, and he can see, you know, the green leathers just in front of him of Blake Davis. And Davis sees Berry, then he might start thinking about other scenarios. With Berry out of the picture, he doesn't even have to worry about it. But if Berry gets up there and starts knocking on the door, and then Hobbs, you have Glotty, they're guys that could take points away from you.
Yeah, but again, like I said, he's just got to be in that group. If he's in that group close to him, he knows he's going to be pretty safe. He doesn't have to be silly or desperate. Looked like he made a little mistake coming over the back of the hill, missed a shift or something like that, and had a little evasive action, it looked like, from Ben.
There's Dominic Doyle, the 25, was 7th the last time around. Brady keeps pulling up next to that Yamaha. That R7's got some power.
Blake has just been really good on the brakes this last half of the season and more aggressive. See, now it goes a little bit wide. Seeing a few mistakes out of Blake now.
And the white bike again starting to get closer.
See if Blake fights back whenever he gets up here to turn 5. You know, when we talked about it, I said, you know, the strategy is if they give you opportunity, of course you're going to stick yourself back in there. Just nothing desperate. You just got to be calm and smooth.
That one move into 5, if you go inside, man, you're going to scrub a lot of speed. And it looks like Lottie might have taken advantage of that just a little bit. But also, if you get into that draft, how many times, Roger, Josh, we talked about you get sucked into that turn? That could be a nemesis as well.
And this could be good for Blake as well to just follow.
I think this is going to be a benefit for him. Those guys look like they had a little pace. He had been leading that group, and now he gets to kind of measure off of those guys and go, oh, okay, and let them pull him along.
And breathe and not, you know, really make those mistakes. I think being in front of that group, knowing they're trying to pass him, just gives you more to think about now. You can just follow Teague and try to see if he can hold on to the end of the race.
It's been a learning process as the 21 goes off track. Jacob Crossman. Been a learning process for Blake Davis, but he's got a couple of bookends. And you see now the championship rivals are right nose to tail pretty much. Jody Berry has caught up with Blake Davis, but Davis bookending the season, shaking his head. He's not comfortable with them getting by. He's really not going to be comfy here. The 11's going to move to his inside right behind these two riders, and that's the championship. Jody Berry's now knocking on the door. If he gets racy, anything can happen.
I'm kind of wondering how the pass from Ben Glotty happened, if maybe he was a little unhappy, if it was a little tight inside move or something like that, and he's just a little frustrated from it. But like I said, now he might get a chance to see that Jody's the one behind him. But he's really strong on the brakes down into 5 and done a really good job there. And we'll have to see if Jody can get up there and show him a wheel, how does he react to that? How does Blake react to that? Because he's been pretty calm-natured so far this year.
One rider down, not sure which turn that is.
Zach Thomas,
we got
24.
4 laps to go in this race. They only had 9 when we restarted from the red flag.
Also, Dominic Doyle working his way past Hayden Schultz and coming up here to put some pressure on Jody Berry.
Looks like Blake's regrouped. He lost those two guys a little bit. Now this last part of the track kind of looks like he's regrouped a little bit.
That was the 224 Zach Thomas. We got confirmation was who went off track. Yeah, he might have been shaking his head because of the type of pass or whatever. I don't think it was necessarily anything on his end of it, or maybe he's thinking, I shouldn't have been there, and gave him that opportunity. But you want to see a little space behind you, and he does now.
Dominic Doyle's got past Jody Berry.
Dom just made the pass. Now, Roger, we heard them say with Greg Kramer that they found out something with that bike. We saw Jody Berry in New Jersey looking pretty racy in the middle portion of the race, and towards the end, he was shaking his head, looking down. I'm wondering if something's going on there as well, or is it just Dominic Doyle been a little bit faster?
Well, this is toward the end of the race where tire management comes into play. How's his bike handling it now with the tires, with the grip a little bit less? Maybe the other guys have a little better setup here toward the last couple laps when the tires are real hot, greasy, you got some laps on them.
Caleb DeCarroll has checked out 4.5 seconds ahead of Teague Hobbs, Ben Glotty. There they are in your picture, second and third, with Blake Davis just behind. Blake Davis doing everything he needs to do with a 15-point advantage over Anthony Mazziato, a 17-point advantage over Jody Berry in the championship. And it was just a couple of years ago as the 290.
I think that might be where you crashed, Josh, possibly.
Maybe, huh? I feel like I've watched Blake make a small adjustment in some of his lines where he had been a little tight before. Following these guys, he's opened up the entrances a little bit more. And now he's kind of rolling in with those guys again, and now they're starting to put some distance on Jody Berry. Struggling a little on some back shifts,
Yeah, it looks like he, I was going to say the same thing when he goes in the corner and grabs that gear. That I don't know if he's dumping the clutch too quick or if it's something else going on.
Dominic Doyle's been strong here as the years progressed, been faster and faster on the 25. Bart Kahn Racing entry, we saw him grow up with them through the juniors, now in the Twins Cup. We've seen Blake Davis, and now he's doing the same thing, and that's still a young rider. It was just 2 years ago, wasn't it? We were in Atlanta saying, okay, this Davis kid's supposed to be good, and he was fast, but even on the little bikes, he had to learn how to draft properly because he had a lot of Blake Davises around him.
Yeah, and just being so young, and he's learned so much. It's just so impressive to see such a young rider make such a huge jump in one season.
And he's got a couple pieces of racetrack where he loses a little bit of ground up there into that turn 5 area, turn 1 and 2. And then here he starts making it all back up and getting really close and looking racy towards the end of this lap. And man, if he can just keep his head and his wits about him here, he is looking at a lap and a half away from his first national
It's going to be the longest lap and a half of his
making
life.
moves even.
He wants to get on that podium. He says, forget just winning the championship. I want a podium appearance as well. And he's got second now in front of him. That could get sketchy, Raj. I mean, you're trying to win the championship, and these guys are trying to prove something at the last race.
Dominic runs in there.
Yeah, that's a race I don't know that Blake really wants to get into. There's one thing that can lose him the championship, and that's a crash. White flag is out, a massive lead. Over 4 seconds for Caleb DeCarroll. Second, Teague Hobbs. Third, Ben Glotty. There's Blake Davis with Dominic Doyle just behind.
This is kind of where Blake was the last lap, and after they got through that turn 5 area, Dominic making a move on Blake here. He really comes strong kind of down in that museum turn area.
Blake is really struggling in turn 2 with that back shift we're talking about, kind of going wide. Looks like he's going to try to make the pass back. It's part of the track where we talk about Blake being good.
See how close he gets back to those two motorcycles in front of him there. Going down this piece of racetrack, I felt like he really made a lot of ground here and gets himself back into a good shot at it here at the end of the lap.
Teague Hobbs, a New Hampshire rider, currently in second.
And he's done it.
And there's the battle for third. Ben Glotty, the 72.
He really just needs to kind of stay calm. I'm sure he wants to end this being on the podium. It looks like he might take another shot at it again. Nope, not going to be able to do it there. But maybe has enough distance on Dominic Doyle to keep him at bay.
I know.
I like seeing hungry.
You're a couple of turns away from winning a championship. Don't throw it away now. It's coming down. This is the final lap. Caleb DeCarroll coming down the straightaway, takes his first win of the year at the last race of the year. Second place coming down to the stripe looks to be Teague Hobbs, followed by Ben Glotty, and taking the title in REV'IT Twins Cup, Blake Davis with a 4th place finish ahead of Dominic Doyle, Jody Berry, and Hayden Schultz.
Great ride by Caleb.
Yep. I mean, we only saw him so much because he got it checked out, but that's the way this week has been for him. That's what we expected at the start of the year. Let's light up that Dunlop, Blake. Jody's giving him some secrets, some hints. I'd find a little patch of water or something to try and get that thing broke loose.
after spending a little bit of time with that N2 group, I'm happy to see all those guys be able to celebrate this. And man, Blake's been pretty fun to work with since Laguna. He's got a very, very calm head on him and well thought out. And what a way to go out there and stay sharp. Sure, it was scary from where we're sitting here in the booth talking about those last couple laps, but he knows on the motorcycle, you know, when it's different when you got when you have the bars in your hands and you kind of are confident and know what you can manage out there.
Into racing bobblehead moto, and as you will see when he takes his helmet off, and you alluded to the other day, now he can buy himself a tooth. I said Josh said something about his tooth, and they thought it was hair. And I was like, "Were you on his bike when you knocked it out?"
I told him, "I'm sorry, little buddy. I only pick on you because I like you. I don't bother if I don't like you."
Old Glory waving there for the man.
Nice way for Caleb Carroll to have to hand off that #1 plate by going out there and winning the final race of the year. His first win of the season, I believe, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. And who would have thought? But you know, if there was one track in the entire, you know, of all of our circuits, this would be the one that you think he would like the best. His home track was RoadAmerica, or up there in
Brainerd.
Yeah, Brainerd was his home, up there north. He lives down in Texas now, but what a run.
REV'IT Twins Cup is brought to you by REV'IT Apparel, design, innovation, and performance. REV'IT.
Weather has held off here at MotoAmerica for the final stop of the season, and it is Caleb DeCarroll with the win of this race. It is Blake Davis with the championship. But I'm happy for both of those riders, but especially Caleb DeCarroll, because even though he was on Aprilia when he won the championship, it was the Robin Engineering team. He switched teams, and you can just see Caleb likes a bike a certain way, and I don't know if the track caught up with him because he was fast periodically. I don't know the track or what, but we saw what we expected out of Caleb DeCarroll at the start of the year. It might be Al helping with the team. I don't know what it was, but he found something there at the end.
And you could just see in the paddock, you know, it was just a little bit different because he was struggling so much earlier in the year, and I think now kind of got things figured out, and it's good to see him finish the year so strong after struggling a little bit early. And, you know, it's tough to hand off that #1, and Caleb is proved today that he still knows how to ride and put in a heck of a show.
With the hug down there as well. Everybody giving the kudos and congratulations to both Caleb as well as Blake. Getting racy there. He's going to watch that last lap again, and there were a couple of moments there I'm like, man, don't throw this thing away. But he didn't, and you like the aggressiveness out of him, Josh, because that's what it's going to take to win the championships from now on too, right? You're going to have to be aggressive. People don't get slower, and you move up in the progression in bikes and the horsepower. It gets even harder as you move up. There's Corey Ventura with a hug. Let's go down to Greg.
All right, well, huge celebrations down here for your new champion, getting hugs from everybody, it seems. 22, Blake Davis. What a season for you, Blake. Obviously, put together an absolutely fantastic season. And guess what? From Bill Cumbo from AMA, you're no longer the number 22 if you come back in this class. Show them what you're going to be running. Look at that. #1 plate for the champion. What a story for Blake Davis. And what a ride he put in today to absolutely do exactly what he needed to do to win the championship, Blake. Congratulations, man. Yeah, so how about that, that race? You had a bit of a plan going in. You were looking a little racy at the end. The guys in the booth were going, wow, he's really pushing for it here. You don't want to throw it away and throw away that championship, but you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I felt pretty comfortable. I mean, I knew the other contenders were a little farther back, so I knew I could push little. Felt great. The rear started sliding around at the end, so I kind of backed off. I was like, I don't need to do any of that. But no, it was amazing. Thank y'all.
It was and an amazing season, man. Congratulations. Well done, Blake.
Now he can officially say, you can't handle the tooth. There's your champion. Let's take a look at the points. And T-shirts made already? Or those championship
Got some
shirts?
championship T-shirts.
Oh, that's sweet. I need one of those. His first of many, I'm sure, in MotoAmerica. Chuck showing him some love down there as well.
All the family here, it's awesome to see.
All right, he finally did it. I know this. He's been waiting a long time for the first win of this season, Greg.
Well, yeah. And he, of course, we talked to him during the red flag about didn't have a shot at the championship, obviously, but you wanted to win one this year. You wanted to end the season with a win, and you just drove away, baby.
Yeah, I knew I had really good pace in qualifying, and obviously that was my plan. I don't know what happened on the first lap. I think somebody ran in the back of me or something, I think. But I don't know. I was looking forward, full speed ahead, wide open, and it worked out. So I just, really got to give a huge thank you to my Veloce team, man. They've been working their butts off all season, and, it's been a heck of a year. They've been working super hard to get me comfortable. We've made huge progress as a team, so I can't thank them enough for all they've done for me this year. I really enjoy working with Chris from Cycle Tune and Michael. Those are my two guys there at Veloce. But yeah, just thank you to everybody, all my personal sponsors, 1833 CJ Noah's, Bitcoin Bandit, Motoplex Westchester, my beautiful fiance for everything she does for the program. I got to thank the man up above for keeping me safe all season. And everybody else I forgot, just thank you guys. And I'm glad I could get this last win to end the season on a high note.
Absolutely. Your defending champ goes out a winner. Caleb DeCarroll, folks. Back to you guys.
Relief. You know what? I mean, I couldn't imagine what it would be like next year and or during the offseason thinking about not getting a win when you've been so strong the past couple of years in this class.
I couldn't agree more. I think Caleb really needed this for kind of some vindication, justification, and to get himself started for next year, making sure he's on the bike he wants to be on, to be able to come out here and give those guys a good run again.
Been doing some stuff, some cup racing on Equally Prepared Aprilias over in Europe, fun racing on the world scene. I mean, it gives you a little different flavor. I mean, you can be in Mazzano or one weekend, and you can be at Barber Motorsports Park the next.
And I think that just gives him a lot of experience, having to go race different racetracks against different people, and it's kind of come to he raced last weekend, and then he comes and wins this weekend. So he's definitely making his way around, and I think it helps him. And, the more times you can race and ride, you're always learning something.
There's the podium, the final podium of the year, and with the Twins Cup, only one race this weekend. Just like REV'IT Twins Cup and the Yuasa Stock 1000's only had one race. So it's been a long week to get ready for this one opportunity. And looking back, Corey Ventura, they say you can't win the race in the first lap, but you can definitely lose it.
Yeah, an unfortunate mistake from Corey, and I'm sure he's going to be thinking about that a lot because he knew he had good pace and was ready to go to war for this whole thing. So I'm sure hopefully he'll learn something from that, and he's going to come back fighting again.
You see that mousetrap there. You just want to grab that cheese. Sometimes you get it. Sometimes you get caught in that trap. And right now, you see the smile of Caleb DeCarroll. It's been a long time coming, finally, at this final race, taking the victory aboard that Veloce Aprilia. Much like we saw out of his teammate, Jody Berry, throughout the season. That's 5 race wins for the Veloce team.
And we haven't said a whole lot, but both Teague Hobbs and Ben Glotty having quite the ride today. They were solid. They were having to fight their way through Blake. They were missing a little bit of pace off of Caleb DeCarroll, but they've been there all weekend showing that they were strong. And both of them, once they got to the front, they were able to kind of force the issue a little bit. And both of them, they were kind of lined up. They weren't being too rude to one another and keeping the pace fast, and that was able to give Blake to get some distance on Jody Berry there.
And
starting the last race, actually, both those guys was on the podium in New Jersey. So these last couple races, they've really been fast.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Yeah, New Jersey, it was Hobbs in third, Glotty in second. Looking back on the season, what could have been. Anthony Mazziato, we did not see him much in the picture at this round. He had a shot. Things kind of didn't go his way at the New Jersey round. Same thing can go for Berry. I mean, that race right there sets you up into this one, and them losing ground and Blake Davis taking that win, that kind of set the tone. But you could see the confidence out of that young man right there. He just found something in the mid part of this year, and he just grabbed onto it and would not let it go.
Yeah, this second half of the season has been pretty incredible for him, and those lessons learned, I think, are going to stick with him moving forward.
Big thing for him, now he has the whole off season to keep working on stuff that he needs to work on. So for him, and he wants to learn. That's a great thing about Blake. He's constantly trying to get better, and a kid that wants to learn and willing to listen.
There's Jody Berry. They're doing the championship presentations. Going to the third spot. What could have been for him, and the
beginning part of this season with him, he was incredible.
I thought I'd already given him the title after just a few rounds, but again, something happened towards the middle, and that's where Blake picked it up. Mazziotto is going to finish second in the championship. Blake Davis with the victory. Still got a lot of racing here today. We've already seen some Talent Cup, some REV'IT twins. Now let's move over to the SportBikeTrackGear.com Junior Race and the guys next door.
For this 11-lap scheduled SportBikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race, as they are on their warm-up lap, it's Cody Wyman, Kayla Yakov, and Gus Rodeo on the front row. Jason?
Yeah, then we're going to have Spencer Humphreys, Lamandry Jr., Aiden Thau, Hayden Bickneys, Ojawara and Black outside row 3. Owen Williams, Max Van, Jack Vandal, Avery Dreyer, Ivan Rivera. Then we have a little further back, Chris Clark, Crease Elliott, Desiree Caldwell, and Logan Monk will round out the field. So the big one here for me when we start talking about championship, and this guy that we're looking at, number 34, Cody Wyman. It's a big day for him, Greg. Didn't do Twins Cup this weekend. Still walking a little bit gingerly, but for him, in my opinion, let's get this good start. Let's put our head down for 2 laps and see where things are. Main thing is to stay out of trouble.
National championship on the line. And it's all about those 3 on the front row. Cody Wyman gets a good launch. Here comes Kayla Yakov, who's been fast into turn 1. She led yesterday, and she gets it again. So Wyman in second spot. Gus Rodeo not finding an outside line, but he goes up the inside. That's what he was doing yesterday. Nice and tight down in turn number 2.
We remember yesterday how good that motorcycle worked, and Gus Rodeo, we're right back where we started yesterday between him and Kayla. A braking duel for the first lap as they go down into Charlotte's Web. Joe Lamandry Jr. goes up the inside of Cody Wyman, who drops back to 4th. He's got Spencer Humphreys and Ojawara just behind him right now in 5th and 6th. So right now it's about 6-7 riders, Greg. Everybody's still bunched together as Gus Rodeo is going to take a look as they go down into turn 8. He's going to get that pass made on Kayla.
Nice move by Gus Rodeo as we have our first lead change of the race. Yesterday we saw 15 lead changes, so Gus Rodeo on the Rodeo Racing. All these riders on the Kawasaki Ninja 400. Not a spec class, SportBikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup, but it seems to be the weapon of choice for this young field.
So here's Kayla again. She's going to go back down the inside in the same spot she made that race-winning pass yesterday. She gets down the inside of Gus Rodeo into turn number 12, and we've got the same 5 guys